Right. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, or good morning or good night for Mr. Ricco Survival Zubaidi. Today I will presentate my presentation about the assignment that you gave about registration system. But I choose here in Papua New Guinea. My name is Dino Putra, and let's get started with the first slide. Oops. Okay. The first slide is about the introduction of agrarian law in Papua New Guinea. So, to begin with, the agrarian law in Papua New Guinea is a legal framework that regulates how land is owned, used, and managed. The Papua New Guinea is unique because around 97% of its land is customary land, controlled by clans and tribes through traditional rules, and only about 3% that is alienated land, which is controlled by the government. The agrarian law also in Papua New Guinea aims to protect customary rights while also providing a legal structure for modern land administrations, where it tries to balance the cultural traditions with the needs of the state. And the key principle in here, as you can see, is the land is a source of identity, livelihood, and heritage of Papua New Guinea. And the second one is the law to aim the balance, is what I've explained to you before. And move to the background and development of agrarian law in Papua New Guinea. Development of agrarian law in Papua New Guinea is shaped by both colonial history and its post-independent legal reforms. During the colonial period, so land was divided between alienated land for administration and settlement, and large areas were left as native customary land. After the independence in 1975, Papua New Guinea adopted a constitution that strongly recognized customary ownership. Important modern laws include the Land Act of 1996 and the Land Registration Act of 1981. Another major development was the introduction of the Incorporated Land Group, or ILG, which allows clans to organize themselves legally and participate in land registration. This shows how the country integrates traditional land system into formal legal procedures. So that's for the background. And moving to the next slide, which is about the land tenure based on the Papua New Guinea law. So Papua New Guinea has two types of land tenure. The first one is the customary land tenure, which is cover most of the land, about 97%. This land is owned communally by clans and can't be sold. The rights are inherent and governed by traditional customs. And the second type is the alienated land that I always said since the beginning, which represents only about 3% of the total. That is land that the government manage under statutory law, and it can be leased, registered, or used for public purposes. And the state can acquire land for development, but compensation must be given. This dual system is important because it reflects the strong cultural attachment to Papua New Guinea. And moving to the next slide about the rights of land in Papua New Guinea. So, in Papua New Guinea, land rights depend on whether the land is customary or alienated. Customary land owners have collective rights such as right to use, right to occupy, cultivate, and pass the land to future generations. These rights are controlled by the community and guided by traditional leaderships. For alienated land, rights are based on formal legal titles and leases. These rights include the right to lease, transfer, and register interests in land. The Department of Land and Physical Planning, also known as the DLPP, is responsible for administering land rights. But overall, the system recognizes both traditional and statutory rights, which makes it quite unique compared to many other countries. And moving to the next slide about the land registration system. So here's the land registration system in Papua New Guinea, where it's designed to give legal certainty to land ownership and reduce dispute. It is governed mainly by the Land Registration Act of 1981 and Act of 1996 and the Land Group Incorporation of Act 1974. And moving to the 5W and 1H, which are like the system of what, who, when, where, why, and how. So the first one is let's moving to the how, where it said like a process of recording ownership and interest in land under formal government recognitions, where the land recognition is the process of officially recording ownership and interest in land. And the second one is who, were handled by the Department of Land and Physical Planning of Office and of the Register of Titles, which the process is handled by the Department of Land and Physical Planning and the Office of the Register of Title. And when register is required when land is leased from the state or voluntarily registered by customary landowners who incorporate land groups or ILGs. So the land records sorry, it's when. So the registration is required when land is leased from the state or when customary owners decide to formally register their land through the ILGs. Over to the next slide. Where records are kept at the National Capital District Land Office and Regional Office. So the land records are kept at Regional Lands and Office and at the National Capital District Land Office. Moving to the why, to ensure legal certainty, prevent land dispute, and facilitate economic development. And last is how the process usually works in several steps. The first one is a clan form, pardon me, a clan form and incorporate land groups. The second one is the ILG submit documents and proof of traditional ownership. Third one is a survey and mapping of the land is conducted. The fourth is the government issues a formal land titles. The fifth or the last is the title is recorded in the official land registry. And there's an important note though, the registration is voluntary for customary land, but mandatory for alienated land. So the system tries to respect traditional ownership while also enabling economic activities. And moving to the next slide, the challenges and ongoing reform. So even though Papua New Guinea has structured system, there are several challenges. The first one is overlapping claims between different clans because boundaries are based on custom and not always clearly mapped. The registration system can be slow due to bureaucracy delays. There is also limited public awareness, especially in rural area, about how registration works. Because of these challenges, Papua New Guinea has been implementing reforms such as improving the ILG system, simplifying the registration procedures, and promoting transparencies to reduce corruptions. So all of this reform, all of this, all of, pardon me, all of these reforms aim to make the land registration system more efficient and more accessible. And moving to the next slide or the last slide is the conclusion. So, in conclusion, the Papua New Guinea's agrarian land law and land registration system shows a strong connection between traditional custom and modern statutory law, with 97% of land held by customary groups. Um, the country has chosen to respect indigenous rights while still building a formal legal framework. The ILGC's mechanism and the Land Registration Act provide a bridge between these two systems. Although challenges exist, ongoing reform continue to improve certainty, fairness, and access. Overall, though, Papua New Guinea presents a unique example of how customary land system can coexist with modern legal administration. And thank you. That's all for my presentation this today, this morning, this evening, or this afternoon, or this night. Thank you for your attention and your time. I'll close my presentation by saying Hamdallah, Alhamdulillahirrahmanirrahim, Billahi taufiq walhidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, sir.